By now, we know that many states have outlawed abortion, which saw a wave of protests over the weekend. One of those states is South Dakota. Governor Kristi Noem weighed in on her state's abortion laws on Face the Nation. Let's watch.
Now that the Supreme Court has made this decision, the power to make these decisions really goes to each individual state. We've already talked about that in South Dakota. What's the state's role in this, and what can we do to help these individuals that are in these situations get them the health care that they need to help their baby be born healthy and help them be parents, or help them choose a loving family to raise that child.
So you're still figuring out the specifics. Okay.
Well, and this trigger law was put into place years ago, and it was to go into law as soon as the Supreme Court made a decision such as it did. So that's the debate and discussion that we're having. But I think what's incredible and what's going on is that the people will decide. Elected officials at the state level is who they'll be talking to decide what their state's laws look like. South Dakota's obviously, under our past several years and have stood for life and defending life. And I think we'll continue to have those debates on how we can support these mothers and what it means to really make sure that we're not prosecuting mothers ever in a situation like this when it comes to abortion, that it will always be focused towards those doctors who knowingly break the law to perform abortions in our state.
You reassured by Governor Noem's words?
What a ridiculously empty sentiment. Like, we're not gonna prosecute the mothers, but we will prosecute the doctors that do what these women need. And we're gonna help these women, become mothers or give up their children, two options they don't want. And then you say, we'll let the people decide. That's why we have a trigger law in place to immediately get rid of the right and give them one of two options, both of which are what we want and not what they want. Empty.
So obviously we're gonna be talking about abortion, about Roe all day. We have a lot of guests to address it, so I'm not sure which aspect of it we should even get into right now. From my standpoint, what the governor is saying, and a lot of people on the right are pointing out, is that, look, we've been hearing about, I hear a lot on the show from my co-host, from whoever is sitting here, the importance and the power of democracy, and the obstructionist right uses the legal system and the gerrymandered system and all the impediments to prevent government from functioning, to prevent political figures from just implementing laws that people want. Well, this is a case now that this issue has been turned back to the democratic process, right? And now you can have peoples and states and different governments experiment with different policies. I will probably think a lot of them go way too far and not agree with them. But isn't my will supposed to be reflected as one voter among many, as it is the case with all these other issues that the left and Democrats think should be voted on?
And is it, or will it? I think it's, I think we have to be honest and stop pretending that states' right or the state government is anything other than a government right. It's not the federal government imposing its will on you, but it won't be the state government imposing its will, as though if the people, largely say, we do want the right to abortion, which, by the way, the large majority of the country does support, but yet you see at least 26 states poised to ban it. So let's not pretend like they're in the business of listening to what the people want. They want to do what they want to do, and they've changed the conversation like, it's not the federal government, so it's somehow less government imposing its will on you. It's ridiculous.
I mean, the majority of the country, supports, wants abortion to be an option in many cases. Yeah. I think that is where there's actually there's people who have conflicted feelings about this issue. Yes. I think there's a lot of people who are like that, and yes, think it should be a legal option, at least up until a point. And I expect that many states will still allow it completely right up until the end. Many other states will. Some states, at least, will have extreme bans from like the very beginning. But if they go too far, then those legislators can be voted out of office, right? If they don't reflect the will of the people. Well, you're rolling your eyes at me. I don't know how it works.
Hey, Robby, in the states that already gerrymander and do everything they can to suppress the votes of particular populations, at the end of the day, right? If it were about what the people want, you would give them a choice, and then people would do what they want. People would either have the choice to have abortions if they want them or not. If you were really interested, this South Dakota lady, in doing what the people want, you already know know that there are people who want abortions, scheduled to have abortions. Instead, you're sitting here having a conversation about how you will help support them be mothers or give away their children, both options you know that they do not want. So you are not in the business of doing what the people want. You're doing what it is that South Dakota and the state legislature always wanted to do, which is why they put the trigger law there to enforce their own wills and wishes, not that of the people's.